Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm
Did you
such
maybe
an
have
idiot,
it
man.
muted?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
happen.
it's fucking muted.
Yeah, that does happen.
Oh, I'm having a Malteser.
Okay, you deserve it. So that was stressful for all of us, and we made it. We made it through. Wow, you got a box Malteser. What are you celebrating?
Yeah. Well, Lauren got them
Fucking
for me for
inheriting
COVID.
$100 million. Jeez.
Apparently, they were more cost effective than buying like the actual
The
bag. So
okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, very interesting. What have you been doing?
Oh, not much. Just did a little bit of a crossword. I just tried to make a coffee, and then the coffee machine didn't work, and then I went and bought some descaler, and then the thing exploded everywhere, and now I need to call the support line, but they're not open until weekdays.
Okay,
So I'm having a
bit
cup of
a weird
tea.
energy. I'm picking up on some weird energy. I don't hate it,
Okay.
but it's
I don't think that I've had any weird energy.
there. It is. There's the weird energy. Your weird energy is just you turning into
A squid
a little
character.
ape
Yeah.
goblin thing.
How are you?
We're not both not drinking.
Famously,
kind of the
our best
first.
episodes are the ones without social lubricant.
Yeah. I'm a little bit tired.
You
be
seem a
honest,
bit
so-
flat, and I feel like you're projecting what you're calling weird energy onto me when possibly it's coming from you.
Yeah, maybe it is. I just didn't really. I slept for like 3 hours last night.
Oh, why?
Yeah. Oh, just because
Global warming.
if I go to bed later, say on a weekend, if I go to bed later, my body clock these days is so like tight
Precise.
so precise that I am just like waking. I don't need an alarm. I don't think anymore. I can't even remember the last time I woke up from my alarm.
Yeah, right.
Like I wake up before my alarm every time.
Yeah, right.
So if I go to bed later, I'm fucked because I'm going to wake up
At the same
at
time.
same time, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be. I can't fall back to sleep ever. So
What
there you
about in the
go.
middle of the night? Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night?
All the time,
But you do
And
fall back to sleep.
No, not necessarily. That's why we
Wow,
talked about
okay.
this a few weeks ago, I think. But like, yeah, if I wake up in the middle of the night, like I did the other night, and my housemates came back late and they slammed the door, woke up 3:30 a.m. and I'm like, I am fucked here. Like I'm not
Really?
gonna go back to sleep.
Really? But do you think that's self-fulfilling now that you've decided that that's how your body
Possibly.
works?
I think that's probably true, but I don't know how to remedy it.
Remedy
Well,
it.
I said that remedy.
I
don't-
don't know
don't know
how
if
to
it's-
remedy it.
I don't know how to remedy it.
Have you tried like a podcast or putting something on for your brain to think about?
Yeah, I do that all the time, and then it becomes this like weird thing because you don't want to look at the clock because that's a big no-no.
Big
in
no-no.
the
In the
trying
sleep
to
game.
fall asleep community. But then the podcasts become their own kind of barometer of time.
Right. So if you're
you know
feeling
what I
the
mean?
next
'Cause then I'm
episode
like-
tick over,
Yeah, and then
Right.
I'm like, I've listened to 3 podcast episodes at 90 minutes each. I'm like, I've just wasted 4.5 hours.
yeah,
Well, not wasted, but I'm just like, I've been awake for 4.5 hours.
yeah.
So
What about
it's
like
always
a
nice though
meditation
when
thing?
you. Yeah, maybe I need to do meditation.
Like put on
Yeah.
some sleep music kind of vibe plus a little bit of gentle storytelling sort of things.
Yeah, that might be good.
You've got that sleep
I heard
cycle
about-
alarm clock, don't you?
Yeah.
They got a whole bunch of
Yeah.
like gentle soundscapes / little story things now, so you could put one of those on, like some white
Yeah, I
noise
could do
stuff,
that.
some thunder.
Well, what about brown noise? Have you heard
Yeah.
about brown noise?
Yeah, it's just the noise of people shitting.
You could have gone a few ways there, and you went with poo.
Yeah, I went poo.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We'll cut this out. We'll cut all of this out,
I
like we
went
did
poo.
last week.
Yeah. Are you good? What's going on?
I'm good.
Tell me things. Tell me a
okay.
story.
I got a good story for you. It's called The Bonk That Was Heard Around the World. And it starts like this. The other day I was outside, just moving some pot plants around. I put one into the sun because plants like the sun, and
I've heard that.
bent down, picked it up, stood up, bonked head.
On what?
We have those windows which have a top hinge pivot that you can push out to let air in. And so there was a window frame which was not normally there, sort of 45 degrees out. And I was sort of underneath it as I was carrying a pot plant, and I stood up and bonk, top of my head right into the fucking metal corner of it, and gave myself a real good head injury. A real blood sport. Oh yeah. I was dripping blood down my head. I was holding the
Really?
Yep, like I had a tea towel that I just grabbed for something to like hold across it, and it was all smeared with blood, and I put like an ice pack on there to try and stop it from swelling up, but also to help, I guess, like scab it a little bit. And there was like a skin flap that was loose, and we're looking at it trying to work out whether it needed stitches, because like there's a lot of blood in the skull area and it was going all over the place. And in the end,
But you looked pretty badass though. If you've got
I did
blood
look
coming
very
down your
cool.
face.
Yeah, I did look pretty cool. Yeah. That's why I did it. And I think it paid off. But yeah, after a sort of an hour or so of holding the ice pack there, it had stopped bleeding. And then we could sort of take a closer look at it and clean it up a little bit with some like cotton wool and some antiseptic to see what was going on. And the corner of the metal frame was, of course, like a right angle sort of V shape, and it was imprinted in my head, and the point of that V was like a loose flap in my skull skin.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was pretty, like, it was a bit gushy, but in the end, after messaging a bunch of like nurse friends and doctor friends being like, hey, can you look at this, because it's like 10 o'clock, do I need to go to the emergency department and get this stitched up? And they were all
10
like,
p.m.
yeah, it
You
was
did this
late
at night?
Well, no, I did it sort of like 8 o'clock, and then like held the rag on it for a while, and then cleaned it up a little bit. And so then it was like getting into the night when we could finally see clearly what was going on and whether or not it needed actual treatment.
Okay.
And so they were all like, nah, I think it'll probably be okay. Just clean it, like leave it to scab overnight and see how it goes. And in the morning, and so with a few people saying, you're probably not going to need stitches, it's probably all right. I decided in the morning that I would just book in for the GP, go in to get a nurse to look at it, and then also get like a tetanus jab, because I hadn't had one in at least a decade. And when I went into the clinic the following day, they did say that it was fine and it wouldn't need stitches and it'd be all right. The other thing that the nurse said was, "Oh, you have lovely hair," which is a weird compliment to get in that moment.
Sure.
But I'll take it. A nice little ego boost.
Yeah.
So, like, all's well that ends well. But I did have like a quite sore lump there for a while, and a scab that was hanging around as it was healing, and it's mostly back
I hate that.
back to good. But yeah, do you want to see some photos?
I honestly don't.
Here.
But I will. I'm not good with this kind of stuff, man.
That's okay. So this is a little bit clear.
Oh, for fuck off. Oh.
That's not even that bad.
I know, but I can feel like a wince in my stomach.
Oh.
You know,
Well,
when you get
maybe
a
this
wince?
is easy. This is the tablecloth afterwards, just covered in all my dried blood.
It kind of looks cool.
It kind of like it's a good tea towel, I should say. And my friend Fee drew them. It's a whole bunch of cats, and then this cat is a kind of crazy looking cat already, and now it is covered in dried blood, and it looks
It's
vengeful.
nicely the kind of cute, like kind of kitty, innocent nature of the cat is nicely juxtaposed with the blood.
Yeah. And I think that's like a good artistic statement. And this is my mortal enemy. This is the corner which I
I hate that.
Nog
I hate
bonked.
it.
So I haven't.
Those head injuries are they're the worst, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like it's like a real visceral fuck you kind of thing. Do you remember at Wallace cinemas, and we had to pack away the trestle tables
Oh,
under
yeah.
that cinema thing.
Oh yeah,
And I would
famously.
constantly bang. I would like bang my head against there was like a pipe or something, and I just like I had personified this inanimate object,
Yeah.
this pipe,
Yeah.
into like a person in my head. Where I was just like, I hate you, pipe.
Yeah. That fucking space underneath the... So, for anyone listening at home, if you think about a movie theater, which has an incline of tiered seating, that's, placed into a square or a cubic box room, means that underneath the seating, you often have a vacuum, a cavity. And in some buildings, that space will be configured with other levels of the cinema and that kind of thing. But in our complex, it was used as a storage space. And one of the jobs we had to do was take heavy trestle tables and chairs in and out of this fucking space, which was a triangular, like slanted roof cavity. And all of the heavy trestle tables were stacked up against the smaller side of this triangle. So you had to stoop down and practically crawl into the back of this space and drag out heavy objects. Completely ridiculous OH&S kind of flagrant violation. But no one ever did anything about it. And invariably, even though there's that little yellow sticker, watch your head, you would be leaning down to pick up fucking trestle tables and just completely Nog Bonk. It'd go right onto that thing every single time you went in and out of that room.
Did you just learn the word bonk?
Nog Bonk. A noggin bonk. No, everyone knows
that's
the word
cool.
bonk. Why?
I thought bonk meant sex.
Well,
I guess
you
it's
can
the same
bonk.
kind
You can
of thing.
bonk for sex. But that's when
Bonking.
you're rubbing your foreheads together.
My dad used to do that. When my brother and I would argue, he would
Would do what?
he would bang our heads together. He'd grab it to stop us arguing, and it worked every time. We'd argue with each other, and he'd just come into our room and go bang, clunk, together, bonk.
Wow. Welcome to
Yeah.
Deep Thought, everybody. That's a revelation, and it explains many things, I think. This is a podcast that it examines the state of the world, but also the
Sure
state
does.
of each other through the internet with my friend Michael. Hello.
Hello. Yeah,
And-
we do examine the state of each other, don't we?
Yeah, take your top off. He didn't take his top off. And I'm Nick. Hello. Hi. But we do have things to talk about on your end. You got the old sleepy sneeze, the old tickle throat, the old funky flu, the old silly string. What else are we calling it?
The COVID-19.
Oh, that's the one.
I was in telling people that I got it. I was because you don't want to say COVID, like you want to say, but everyone says spicy cough, but that's become like ugh,
It's too much now. Yeah.
It's a bit basic.
Yeah.
I got the spicy cough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got
Korma
it.
cough?
It was fine.
No, you can't
Koi.
you can't get too racially specific.
No.
The wasabi
Well,
woohoo.
you're in the wrong vicinity anyway. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, it was fine. I know you're expecting some sort of angle here from me, and I'm not going to give you the satisfaction.
No, thank you.
I will just say...
I was when I learnt that you had a good time of it, part of me was like, okay, that's nice. I'm glad that my friend didn't get sick. But 85% of me was like, fuck, I really wish he did get badly sick. I really wish that he'd had a shit time of it, because that just would have knocked him down a peg or two. At least 85%. And then all through this week, I was
knew
like, the
that.
next podcast, he's going to be in suffering. He's going to come on and he's going to be like, everyone should get it. Why do we even have these lockdowns? What is this vaccine hoax? I've just been mentally prepared all week for fucking conservative right-wing MZ to appear.
Look, if you didn't already outplay me by telling me beforehand that you're emotionally exhausted at the thought of this, then that's exactly what I would have done. But you've played me well there, because I don't want to be predictable in any
Yeah.
way, so I can't do that now.
That's actually why you're wearing the T-shirt which says, "Please go get vaccinated." Wear a mask.
Yeah, I've gone the full other
You've gone
way.
full 180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't have any symptoms or experience any suffering whatsoever,
Yeah.
it still brings home the point that a lot of people do suffer with COVID-19 symptoms, and you should go out there and get vaccinated, okay? Because it may not affect you, but it will affect the people around you and maybe your grandma, so those vulnerable. So please go out and get vaccinated.
So people may not, a little bit of a peek behind the curtains here in my podcast process. I often run Michael's end of the audio through a filter just to get rid of some background noise and that kind of thing before I put it in and edit. I use this software called Isotope, and it's got some spectral denoise stuff and dehumming things. And what I'm thinking is I might actually apply
Where are you going with this?
I might actually apply the de-sarcastic filter on that and just tone some of the sarcasm out of that just a little bit and give it sort of like a real actual genuine thing instead of coming across so smarmy. So this will work out well for me, I think.
Yeah, let me know if you can apply that in real life as well, because I wouldn't mind using that.
It really needed it in that sentence too. So,
but I will say this. Look, I had like a cough, and that was it. I still got a little bit of a cough, but
I can hear it in your
muscle
voice
aches or anything.
Yeah,
that could be a number of things, but I will just say that I felt worse after the vaccine. Tell you that much. So, what does that tell you?
You now have autism.
Yeah. But no, it was absolutely fine. I do appreciate you did check in almost every day. Now I know that it was for reasons of pride, really.
Yeah, it was malicious check-in. I was crossing my fingers for, oh man, I had a bad night. But it turns out the worst night you've had this week was last night because you only got 4 hours sleep. Really disappointing outcome for me.
Yeah, and I slept like a baby. I still took the week off work.
Oh yeah, as you should.
Actually, I'm just and I still went out to like bars and the supermarket and stuff. So like it wasn't like anything really changed.
What?
Because you don't need to isolate.
I know, but did you actually go out?
Yeah.
To bars?
I went to the pub maybe 2 nights, and I was still going to the supermarket and stuff. I was like keeping my distance and stuff.
You went to the pub with who?
Yeah. All my friends.
You went to the pub while COVID positive with all your friends, and your friends were like, "Yeah, man, come in, let's hang out."
Well, I didn't tell them that I had COVID, but most of them had already had COVID.
Michael. No, you're riling me up.
Yeah. But it was funny though, because you don't need to isolate now. So is. I'm like kind of looking. So I'll give you a bit of a timeline here.
Please.
On Monday, I woke up, and I had been to the movies the night before, and I felt a little bit hoarse in my throat, but like nothing too out of the ordinary. And I had a couple of rat tests. I saw a gala screening of the Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh,
with
good.
Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson in Bruges.
McDonough?
So
Is that
great.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing film. But yeah, so I just tested on a whim and I was shocked. I was like, holy shit. When the rat test, they go up slowly and then it's just like bang, you get that immediate dark line. You're like, oh my God, I was not expecting this.
Yeah.
So, and I was just about to go to work as well. So that was lucky. And then I continued working throughout that day. Then the next day I was testing and it was like a slightly fainter line, but still very much there. And then on the Wednesday, there was like a extremely faint line, but I wasn't even sure if it was a faint line because it came up after like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It wouldn't show up in a photo.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So I'm like, I spent a lot of time on Reddit because that's, the most reliable source of information for this stuff for me. And, people are saying that, if it's invalid, yeah, after 15 minutes. So I'm like trying to work out. I didn't time it or anything. So yeah, there's a little bit of weird like self management and trying to work out how what to do. But luckily, because of the place that I work, they were able to send me a whole bunch of rat tests in an Uber, on the Monday morning.
The zoo.
So I was just testing, willy-nilly, which is in a good position to be in.
Yeah.
Previously, when there was another
there's
wave.
There's been no like government access to rats, really, right?
I don't think so.
Because over here, they did do that. Like, I have probably 35 rats in the cupboard because they just like...
Are you serious?
Yeah, for real. Yeah. I got dozens of them.
Well, it's crazy because they're still selling at Chemist Warehouse for $70 for 10 pack. I'm like, well, I mean, if people really...
if you couldn't afford it, like, you will not be able to have the confirmation. Not that it even matters. Yeah, it's kind of fucked.
Well, when at the start of the year, when all my friends were getting it, there was a scarcity of rat tests, and so I was, picking up rat tests from strangers, like on Facebook Marketplace and things like that.
Yeah, right.
And sending rat tests to my parents in Adelaide who couldn't get them.
Yeah,
it was a whole kind of like thing, and now so it's nice to have like I could test every day, until it's gone.
Yeah.
Which by Wednesday it seemed like it was completely gone, which means probably that I was infectious over the weekend.
Yeah.
But no one else contracted it. I was sitting in a cinema sneezing. That's the other thing.
Licking the seat.
It's hard to work out what you've got. I mean, you can test, but it's like it's hay fever in the air, So you think, it's easy to kind of dismiss it, or if you've had a night out on the piss, and you'd be like, oh, well, I'm just a little bit hungover, like. So the only way to really know is by testing, and but luckily no one else has gotten it. So
that's good news.
There you go.
My dad's had a couple of health things going on, and recently, as a exclusionary thing, did a antibody test to check whether he'd ever had COVID, but without knowing it,
right.
Because that's going to be like a real important aspect of COVID treatment and long COVID treatment going forward, is knowing if you were like asymptomatic or like a carrier without having experienced it, whether any subsequent symptoms that you might have developed could be long COVID related symptoms, or a symptom of maybe your heart was suffering some stuff even if you didn't have flu things, and now you might have ongoing issues. So being able now to go back and do a blood test and check for the antibodies and know, oh shit, you actually did have it, you might not have ever known, but you had it, is going to be really medically important. And thankfully his came back negative. He'd never had it, which is good. But yeah,
is that good though? Wouldn't you want him to have had it and not known?
No, I don't.
It's kind of ideal, isn't it? But he'll get it.
Well, yeah, maybe not. They're very good. They're still masking up everywhere and keeping distance from people. My dad's 70. I don't really want him to get it.
Sure. I just assume that everyone's going to get it. But your dad sent me a really nice, a funny message. Actually, like not long after I tested positive, so you must have told him right away. You must have gone.
Yeah, I put it on the family chat.
Jeff, get this.
Yeah.
Michael's about to get it. He's about to get his comeuppance.
Yeah, and I did my little evil cackle hands and, Mr. Burns expressions.
But yeah, he said to me, clearly living a saintly, pure and chaste life can only go so far, which is pretty funny. Pretty funny, for a dad.
Good. Yeah.
Just throwing me some gentle shade, which I like.
Yeah. No, well, I think it is good to hear that you have survived, even if it's not what I wanted. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether this wave continues to grow, because over here it's peaking again. Well, not even peaking; it's just increasing again. So we're back in a third wave.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought summertime it was going to die down. I guess we're not getting really summery weather, are you?
We had very wet weather yesterday, but generally it's been quite warm. But
it's the bloody La Nina, man.
Yeah. But I think, I never quite understood the summer comparison, because really it's about airflow, right? And to me, in really hot places like Australia and to a lesser extent New Zealand, it feels like people are hanging around inside anyway in air conditioning rather than in heating. So I don't know.
On extremely hot days, I guess, but people are outdoors.
But like most people's jobs are still in offices, right? Like most people are still going to work in a shared space with a bunch of people in a locked room. Like that doesn't change year to year.
room.
Yeah. No lights, no air. Shackled to their desk.
Yeah, I guess so. What else? Trump's back on Twitter and he's running for president again. How about that?
Yes. He's been allowed back on Twitter. He has previously said that he won't go back because he's got this stake in Truth Social now. That's his brand. He's invested in it. He will definitely come back.
It won't be long.
He said yesterday that he won't, but I totally believe, like, within a week, the lure of millions more people will be bigger. Yeah,
He can't help himself.
He can't help himself. He's a narcissist.
Yeah.
What a fucking shitstorm.
And another campaign trail, which is going to be exhausting. Now, is he just putting his name forward for the Republican nomination? Is that
Correct.
How it works again?
Yeah, so he will need to be designated the GOP's candidate by some point, and he's got Ron DeSantis now actively out there, like, campaigning.
Yes.
So there will be a fight. It'll be interesting to see which way it goes, particularly off the back of these midterms where all of his backed candidates basically died on the vine. So, yeah, basically none of his endorsements came through. In fact, it was arguably a motivating factor for his opponents. Like, they all came out to try to stop those candidates from getting in because they're so, crazy. So it'll be interesting to see whether the GOP can stomach the idea of it or whether they actually see it as another losing proposition.
Yeah, well, they've got no real... I guess it's about his momentum because they've got no spine, so they won't do it out of any sort of principled reason. No. They'll just do it because they can't. They feel like they can't do anything else.
But here's the thing. If Ron DeSantis comes out and has a bit of a decent showing, or even just pitches himself as like, I'll do all the shit you like, but I will be more reliable, then that's quite an appealing argument to a lot of those folks, surely.
But people are voting for Trump because he's a celebrity.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah. You're completely right that DeSantis, I don't think, has the same charisma or the appeal to a lot of those voters. So, yeah.
I mean, do you know anything much about him? I don't know anything about him. He just looks like another knob.
Yeah, I don't know a great deal. I could look back and remember, I think, previous stories and controversies. But he's the Florida guy, I'm pretty sure, right? So it's two Floridians against each other.
Great.
Yeah. Famous Florida man energy.
That's what America needs.
Yeah.
Dr. Oz was running?
Yeah, and he lost, which is good. Dr. Oz, not endorsed by Oprah, the woman who brought him to prominence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll probably do it.
That'll do it. Yeah,
he also didn't live in the place that he was running, which is weird. Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
what else? The Twitter thing is for all of my skepticism about Elon taking over Twitter, which we talked about in the last episode a little bit. I had also said, I think, cautiously, that there were things about the business model of Twitter as it previously existed that could have been improved, like the speed of product rollouts and the amount of people that were working on things, but not to huge efficiency, could have been different because it never made a profit. But even with that asterisk, it's still impressive and hilarious to me how quickly this fucking thing has fallen apart. I don't know if you've been following any of it this week, but it is very much like last day at school. We'll catch up, after the holidays, like, this has been so great. Here, sign my t-shirt kind of vibes as everyone just fucks off and disappears.
Do you mean people who are on Twitter users, or people who work for Twitter?
Yeah, well, both. So he fired like half the people, And then a second round of layoffs happened when he sent out an email saying basically sign up for my incredible, work on your weekends, 80-hour week crunch kind of mad tech bro lifestyle thing. You must work in the office. You can't work remotely anymore, like all that kind of shit. And sent out an email which was basically like yes or no, and then a whole bunch of people left after that. But the system is like entire teams left, like the copyright enforcement team has all gone, and so right now people are uploading the entire Fast and the Furious movie library to Twitter in 2-minute increments because none of it's being flagged by the copyright holders. So you can just go and watch the Fast and the Furious in a series
on Twitter,
series of consecutive tweets. They fired the guy who was in charge of the keycard management for like office security and that kind of thing. So the first thing that happened was that they locked themselves out of the office and couldn't get back in. And the second thing that happened is it was tied to the car park. So a bunch of employees were trying to get the cars out of the car park and they couldn't leave because they couldn't get the arm of the car park to open and let them out. So It has been a very entertaining series of days as this whole thing has shook out.
I wonder if it's going to affect Tesla.
Well, yeah,
like people's willingness to buy a Tesla.
The stock price of Tesla has dropped. It's been interesting because we've talked a little bit historically about the perception of billionaires and how a billionaire must be a genius or successful or that kind of thing. And I think this puts the lie to it. I think you can see how easily a genius can be ill-suited for certain product types or have the wrong temperament to succeed in different environments, and that perhaps some of the success that was attributed to individual accomplishment is perhaps more fairly ascribed to the power that comes with money or the inherited sort of nepotism of family lines. Or I'm not saying specifically Elon in this instance, but it does make you think that, wow, these are just like regular idiots like the rest of us.
Yeah. I mean, if he just kept his mouth shut, he wouldn't have. I mean, yeah, it attract the same sort of attention that Bezos does, but people don't want his blood. They don't want Bezos's blood in the same way they want Elon to fucking crash and burn. Like, people want him. They want to see him crash and burn. And if he just kept his fucking mouth shut, which he can't, like, people wouldn't care as much, and his publicity at least would be somewhat intact.
Yeah, it is so self-inflicted. Which I suppose is why it is more satisfying to jump up and down and crow about it. But it is definitely, it's like shooting yourself in the foot because you spent all this money to buy a thing and then lack the capacity to handle it properly and then just fucking flush $30 billion down the toilet. Like it's a very strange series of events.
Well, what is Dorsey thinking about all this? Is he, like, quiet?
Well, at the start, he was like, I believe that Elon Musk is the one person who can take us to a better place and he's the right guy to run this company. And I haven't checked what he's saying now, but I have to think that it's probably not played out the way he hoped.
Is he still on Twitter?
He's still on Twitter, I think.
Does he still have a stake in the company?
Oh, I would have to say so, but I don't remember.
Are you looking something up? You got
yeah, I was, because I just realized that we were talking about Elon Musk again, and part of my brain said, I wonder if anyone specifically emailed us about our Elon Musk episode last week. So I was just logging in to see whether there was anything there, and no comments from that department.
Nothing from Elon? He didn't hear the episode?
Not from Elon, but also not from,
Oh, you got a visitor.
Adjacent figures. Hello.
Hi.
Probably like 40 minutes. Why?
I think the internet's stuffing up because it's on Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Not because of the pod though.
Well,
Surely.
he's saying possibly internet being used a lot might be contributing to that. But I might turn off my video.
Yeah. I'm happy to.
This is like deep thought after dark.
Can you still see me?
I can see you.
I hate this.
Well, you can turn yours off, and then it's sort of like would just be like lying in a
We're under
camping tent,
Yeah.
just
okay.
side by side in the bush, and maybe my hand brushes your hand, and who knows where this thing goes.
This is like Her, the movie, like Joaquin Phoenix and.
Which part of that movie?
It's like you're my AI because I can still see me. Obviously, I'm still aware. Or did you have your eyes closed?
What do you?
Should we both close our eyes as well?
Well, I can't see me either. So when I've turned off my camera, it's not showing me.
I guess it's kind of just like a phone call, isn't it?
Well, there must be a name for it.
Like a talkie.
It is. It's funny how quickly
chat.
I have idealized the picture of you in my head. So like you look a little bit brighter. There's not those like tired bags under the eyes. Like I've gone to a maybe 12 years ago kind of mental picture of you in a Wallace vest, because now there's nothing to say otherwise.
You've touched me up.
Yeah, I've touched you up just a little bit,
Okay.
but it's flattering. It's not like really obvious.
I wouldn't say 12 years ago me was the best version of me physically. I think.
Okay. Well, you
probably
tell me
now.
what version of you I should picture.
I think this version.
Okay.
This version.
Well,
or the one from maybe not the one from 10 minutes ago, but maybe the one from 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, I'll twiddle the dial then. I'll adjust that back to a more regular look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now where were we?
Did you have anything substantial to go on with? I've got a few sort of seggies lingering.
Yeah. No, I guess I was gonna just say how forget it. Oh God.
No, I want to know. Just tell me anything you weren't going to say.
I was gonna I had Louis C.K. down on my thing.
Oh, yeah.
I went and saw Louis C.K.
I don't care.
Which is great. No protesters.
Well,
Which is
yeah.
a little disappointing.
You wanted protesters?
Kind of.
So you wanted
I was
to
a bit
feel
careful
like
about
righteous.
sharing it on my social media, you know?
Yeah.
You don't want to get that out there.
Close friends.
Well, when I bought those tickets, I bought 2 tickets for Dave, Weber, and Daniel. And then Dave couldn't come anymore. So then he was like, "Can you sell my ticket?" And I'm like, "Well, mate, where am I going to sell your ticket? I can't list it on Facebook, can I? Get lynched."
Yeah.
So I just sell it on Tixel, and then that was a whole other
Tixel?
thing.
I've
But
never
yeah,
even heard of Tixel. What the fuck's Tixel?
Well, Tixel kind of integrates with Ticketmaster and basically
Oh, God.
holds your tickets in escrow. Is that
Yep.
correct? Where they takes the money, takes the ticket, and then releases the money in the ticket.
Right. Well,
Whatever.
yeah. I mean, Ticketmaster didn't have a good week either, did it? So I'm not surprised that you had things with Tixel.
What happened with them?
You didn't hear about the Taylor Swift, fuck up?
No.
So Taylor Swift was launching tickets for her new concert. And long story short, they did a pre-sale. They had 4 billion people trying to get onto the website at once. Everything crashed. People spent 2.5 hours, didn't get anywhere, spent their money, didn't get anything, all that kind of shit. So they're like, oh, fuck, we're going to put it on proper general sale tomorrow. Let's take another day to get it right. They spent another day and then put it up and then immediately got swamped. It died. It cancelled. And they were like, actually, we're never going to list these tickets again. And it was so bad and so infuriating for so many people that there are now government investigations into it by the US Congress, because Ticketmaster and its parent company Live Nation are a conglomerate, a monopoly, and everyone hates them. Every single person fucking hates Ticketmaster because it's a rort. It's so expensive. And now, because of the scale of this fuck up, they're going to be investigated, which I do find kind of funny.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't hear about that at all.
You might not be following the Taylor Swift Twitter feeds quite the same way I was.
Is there a way that you can get, certain news items out of your feeds?
On Twitter?
Well, not on Twitter, just like on Facebook or whatever. Because, like, when the Queen died, and you're like, okay. I wish there was a way that you could just be like, no more Queen news, okay? And then just be like, you won't ever see any more Queen news.
I feel like on Facebook you can do some stuff, but it tends to be like, don't show me things from this news source rather than don't show me things about this topic. But yeah, on Twitter you could always put muted terms, which is a really nice quality of life thing. So you could mute the word Queen and then it would just not ever show you tweets with Queen in it.
I guess so.
But yeah.
Facebook and Instagram just don't. I feel like they don't really know me too well. Like, Facebook thinks I really love the Foo Fighters, which I don't, and it's like constantly giving me Foo Fighters and Nirvana videos.
Okay,
I don't care.
Wow.
And Twitter thinks Instagram thinks I love Harry Styles.
Oh.
Because I'm getting constant concerts, constant snapshots
concert?
from. I'm not really working very well today. Harry Styles concert whatever thing videos.
Yeah.
Which again, not.
You can actually go in. You can go into those. You can go into your profile and see the list of things it thinks you like, and you can actually approve or disapprove of some of those. So I do think that you could go in. It's a little bit like buried, but I could find you the link to go to that would then show you all the things that it's like. And then, like, for a while, I remember... Do you remember the wonderful show Baskets, the Zach Galifianakis clown show?
Yep.
Excellent show.
Yep.
I'd liked it on Facebook, I think. And so for a while, I kept getting all these ads for, like, storage solutions. And it was genuinely because the algorithm looked at it and thought, oh, he's liked baskets. And it kept showing me baskets. And so I had to go in.
Funny.
I had to go in and actually delete it because it was infuriating.
This is like, you're a big baskets guy.
I'm a big baskets guy. I am a big baskets guy. Great show.
You like woven baskets?
Yeah, it
Maybe
was.
Bamboo?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But I'll find the
funny.
deep link and send it to you, and you can have a look because it is quite fascinating to go through and see the things that it thinks you want.
Yeah, it's I've just opened up Instagram again, and the first thing is Harry Styles comes up.
Okay,
it is interesting to
How
see
did this
like
happen? Yeah,
it's interesting in a relationship. You can be like, I want to see your search explore part of Instagram, like just to get a sense of like what you're doing in your private time.
Yeah.
Do you what's your feed like?
I don't really use
What's
Instagram
in
that
it?
much, to be honest. Do you mean Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram, yeah.
Instagram
what is it?
feed
You
is
go to
kind
that
of
search thing.
generic. You might my feed or my explore tab?
Explore, because that's like giving you things you want. Mine's a lot of workout and sandwiches ones.
Mine has it's like, because I just I was going to hold it up to the camera, but I can't. Mine has a bunch of cats. It has a bunch of memes. It's got something about Khloe Kardashian's facial scar. It's got Elon Musk lip filler chim implant meme. It's got some sports guy. It's got Cillian Murphy. It's got a it's got a cat. It's a cat sitting on a toilet seat shitting into the bowl, which is something I never thought I'd see, but there we go. A whole bunch of rugby stuff. Yeah.
I get rugby stuff too, weirdly, yeah.
Yeah. So,
and Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. It's not really representative of anything.
What was on your list?
I do want to just briefly say on that Twitter thing that I have migrated over to Mastodon, which is that sort of alternative that's really blown up in the past couple of weeks. And it's really nice. It's you were never like a forums guy, I don't think, back in the day, right? Did you ever go like on a PHP forum like back in the early 2000s?
I actually did in when Grizzly Bear, the Ed Ross
Yeah.
singer, was on forums a lot, and he would
Yeah.
like communicate with people directly. I was, but
Yeah, cool.
not hardcore.
No. Well, it's sort of like if Twitter and Tumblr and like mid 2000s forums came together. So you still get like a text based feed of all the posts of your friends, and you can retweet things and tweet things and that sort of stuff. But it's got a slightly longer word count, and it's also got this kind of regional thing where you pick a server to live on. And so that combination just blends into this quite nice, slightly nostalgic feeling where everyone's being quite friendly. And it's been nice to explore. So if anyone out there was a Twitter user and is now thinking like, well, fuck, if this site falls over next week, what am I looking for? I have to say, the Mastodon waters are quite nice, and have a look. It's not that complicated to get set up.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. It looks a bit. I don't know. It doesn't look very visually appealing. Why doesn't everyone just move over to LinkedIn? LinkedIn's the new Facebook anyway.
LinkedIn's the new Facebook. Right.
You heard it.
Yeah, I'll write that one down, and we'll just check in. Just check in the future.
You're not the only one making predictions around here in the tech world, mate.
Clearly. Okay. How about some science news then?
Yeah. Hit me.
Play the jingle, please, robot DJ.
Dun 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 dun. Is that how it goes?
We will soon find out.
It's that time. Time for science news.
Okay, science news. SAS news. Here's an article. Did you see this one, Michael? It was in The Guardian, entitled "Slaves to the Rhythm. Rats can't resist a good beat." A study has found that
I'm
rats...
listening.
Well, actually, let me read the first sentence of this article, because I think it deserves to be heard. "Music makes you lose control," Missy Elliott once sang in a hit that's almost impossible to hear without bopping along. Now scientists have discovered that rats also find rhythmic beats irresistible, showing how they instinctively move in time to music. This ability was previously thought to be uniquely human, and scientists say the discovery provides insights into the animal mind and the origins of music and dance. Rats displayed innate, that is, without any training or prior exposure to music, beat synchronization, says Dr. Hirokazu Takahashi of the University of Tokyo. Music exerts a strong appeal to the brain and has profound effects on emotion and cognition. While there have been previous demonstrations of animals dancing along to the music, TikTok has a wealth of examples, the study is one of the first scientific investigations of the phenomenon. In the study, published in the journal Science Advances, 10 rats were fitted with wireless miniature accelerometers to measure the slightest head movements. They were then played 1-minute excerpts from Mozart's Sonata for 2 pianos in D major at 4 different tempos: 75%, 100%, 200%, and 400% of the original speed. 20 human volunteers also participated. The scientists thought it was possible that rats would prefer faster music because their bodies, including the heartbeat, work at a faster pace. By contrast, the time constant of the brain is surprisingly similar across species. However, the results showed that both the rat and human participants had optimal beat synchronicity when the music was in the 120 to 140 BPM range, closer to the Mozart composition's original 132, suggesting we share a sweet spot for hitting the beat. The team also found that rats and humans jerked their heads to the beat in similar rhythm, and that the level of head jerking decreased the more that the music was sped up. Our results suggest the optimal tempo for beat synchronization depends on the time constant in the brain. The team now plans to investigate how other musical properties like melody and harmony relate to the dynamics of the brain. As an engineer, I am interested in the use of music for a happy life, said Takahashi. So, rats love music, man.
Very interesting.
Rats love music,
It's
and more than
interesting
that,
because
they bop their heads.
They're playing Mozart to rats. So they're playing classical music which doesn't have a rhythm. So I was thinking initially that it was going to be a rhythm, but they're playing. They're
mean like a rhythm
bobbing their heads
section?
to a melody. Well, like a drum beat.
Yeah.
Like a drum beat, that seems more primal to me than hearing a melody or chords.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. It is weird to think, like, what do animals think about music? Like, what? It must be such a strange thing, or do they even register it? I mean, there's videos probably on my Instagram, explore area, that explore area? God.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Of like playing classical music and having like horses or elephants like react to it or coming towards the music.
Yeah, elephants
there
listening
must,
to a piano. I've seen that.
So there's some sort of they're receiving it on some level. Well, maybe those animals are, but rats, that's a creepy thought. Seeing a rat, bobbing its head.
Yeah, rats at the club, just hanging out with their mates, going wild on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting side of that for me as well is not necessarily that animals can appreciate music, because I feel like we've seen evidence of that already. Like, as you say, there are those videos out there of, cows coming to listen to a harpist in a field or whatever. But the thing which is interesting to me is the time thing, that the idea is of bopping their head is kind of similar across species, that the tempo of it is connected to an internal sense of time, because that has a wild connotation for me. If it implies that the rats feel the passage of time similarly that humans do.
Yeah, interesting. You're saying that like tempo can be some sort of measure of time.
Well, they were saying that, let me find the quote here. Scientists thought it was possible that rats would prefer faster music because their bodies, including their heartbeat, work at a faster pace. But in contrast, the time constant of the brain was surprisingly similar across species. There was an optimum beat synchronicity when the music was 120 to 140 beats per minute. The team also found that rats and humans jerk their heads in a similar rhythm. So the optimal tempo for beat synchronization depends on the time constant in the brain. So saying that the way the brain is perceiving the passage of time is similar in both species, which if a rat lives like 4 years but feels a second passing in the way that a human feels a second passing, then think about how brief a life would feel for one of those animals. Like, that's kind of existentially like horrifying.
Yeah. Dancing's one. I take issue with the word jerk in that article, by the way. They say jerk their heads. That's
Okay.
not descriptive. But dancing's do you dance?
I think by most metrics,
I've
no.
only ever seen the jokingly dance.
I mean, I like, we've been to concerts together. We've been to like the club together. And when there's a good song on, like I will, I don't know, white boy dance, where you're sort of nodding and like upper body grooving. But I wouldn't say I'm like crazy getting into it.
Dancing's interesting, like phenomenon, because it's like this weird like faux or representation of like sex, and it's also like really unifying. Well, it is, isn't it? Like it can be very sexual, like the way people move their body.
When
is
I
kind
do
of
the
like
YMCA,
imitating sex. I'm not speaking obviously about you at
Sure.
all, unless that's how you have sex, which I feel very
arms
sorry
up,
for.
arms out, yeah. The Macarena is also a good one. Yeah.
It's like one of those weird human phenomenons that you just like you just take it for granted, but then you're like, why do we do that? Like, if aliens came down and saw us doing like exhibiting this behavior, it would be interesting. Like, you'd be like, oh, they all go to this place and then they all kind of move in unison, like together.
It would be similar to the idea of head bumping, right? It's like beat synchronization, so it feels good to do things to music because music hits pleasure centers. And then like there's a social aspect, right, where it's like you and your friends either together, or I suppose there's that sometimes a competitive side to it as well, but like there's a cultural thing there going on human to human outside of like the individual pleasures of it as well.
Yeah.
A few years ago, when I was working at Whitebait on the TV shows, we had a segment which was a like a hip hop dance tutorial segment with some of the world's best hip hop artists who are based in New Zealand. And so we got them to agree to teach a dance, and we recorded those segments and played it out week to week across the course of the show, so people at home could learn like a good dance from some of these experts. And then at the end of year Christmas party, it was decided that our team was going to secretly rehearse to perform one of these dances as well. And because it was an entire office party and there were multiple shows there, we went out of the office and practiced at a dance studio to learn as a group of like 30 people how to do this really quite intricate hip hop dance. And then when it came to the Christmas party night, we'd arranged with the DJ that they would just put the track on in the middle of the night,
mobbed.
and we literally all, like, when the track came on, handed the glasses to the person opposite, like ran to the front of the thing, and then did a flash mob, dance, and then dispersed back into the crowd and picked up our drinks again. And it was great fun, and it was like the screams of shock because it was the entire team, all ages, out of nowhere, coordinated dance. It's fucking
wow.
It was great.
I love that. I love a flash mob.
Yeah, gone out of fashion.
Gone out of fashion, yeah. Now it's all about carpool karaoke.
I feel like that's also gone out of fashion, but yeah. So anyway,
That's
rats. Don't write them off.
I won't. No. Now that I know that they can move. Sorry, my jacket just fell down.
Okay.
You can't see me.
We can't see you. It's fine. Why don't I do the outro and you just pick up your jacket?
Yeah. All right.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, that's wonderful to hear. Thank you. We've got other episodes which are also filled with interesting topics, like our Twitter one and Elon Musk from last week, and things about existentialism and animals and zoos and all kinds of things. So scroll on down that feed and check out another episode. You won't be disappointed. And if you are, well, then you were. You can also find us on other social media platforms, still Twitter, though who knows for what purpose. Instagram, Michael loves seeing Harry Styles there, but maybe you could reach out and change that up for him. You can send an email to us at deepfort@gmail.com, and you can rate us on Apple Podcasts because every little star helps. So give us those 5 big ones, baby. I'm sorry for calling you
how
baby.
we do. You know how you can call me whatever you want, Daddy. You know how we do the outro and we say, rate us on Apple Podcasts and email us. Does anyone ever listen to that?
Probably.
Because does anyone do anything? They don't do anything.
Well, not if you discount it now. Not if you undercut the message.
Well, just feels performative, at this point, Nick.
Okay, I'll take the note.
I'm getting sad. Getting sad towards the end of the show.
You're teetering. You're teetering. Let's perk things up with a rec engine. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Play jing. Actually,
let's grab the keys.
Let's grab. Yeah, fuck. Do you want to say it?
Grab the keys.
Okay, I'll use my first take. Welcome to Deep Fort's recommendation engine.
Such low energy from me right now. Apologies.
Okay, I got a few on my list here. I might kick us off with a movie that we talked about previously. I went and saw Bros. Did you see Bros?
No.
Okay, racist.
Nose.
You missed it. You missed the chance. I went and saw it, and it was really nice, and it was funny, and I enjoyed Bros. That's the gay rom-com comedy with Billy Eichner, who wrote it and stars in it. Didn't do very well at the box office. Hasn't seemed to stick around here in theaters either. But a bunch of us went. Bunch of us had a really good time. So if you see it pop up somewhere, I would encourage it. It's good.
Pretty sure you already wrecked this.
I said I was going to before I went and saw it, but now I can say that I have seen it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I can't even see it at the movies anymore. It's felt like more of a watch at home kind of movie anyway for me.
Yeah, too embarrassed to be
So
seen
I
in
could
public.
jerk off in the privacy of my own house.
There are some hot guys in this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. Is Billy Eichner hot?
No, he's not the hot one.
He kind of reminds me of you. Not that was necessarily a segue or a tangential thought, but he does kind of remind me of you.
Yeah, I would try and take it in the good humor it was offered.
Yeah. What have I got? Oh, yeah, I've got a movie too. Barbarian. Heard about this?
Oh, I have. Very good horror movie, is that right?
Very good horror movie. I'm not a huge fan of horror movies typically, but this is
yeah.
right on the sweet spot. It's like it's got Justin Long in it. It's got other people that I don't know. But yeah, really interesting kind of movie. It's like you think it's going one way, and then halfway through the movie just becomes this whole other movie, and then kind of wraps around again. But yeah, if you're not super hot on horror movies like I'm not, this is one that's like it's got good scares that aren't like just jumpy scares. It's kind of like, you know, terrifying on a lot of levels. There's like a lot of good social commentary there as well. And just a really interesting movie. So I think this one.
Would you say it's like gore horror, or is it like thriller horror?
No.
What kind of vibe is it?
More thriller,
Okay.
but also there's this really interesting, like it's all a metaphor, but like there isn't a really interesting kind of social commentary there as well that kind of underpins everything that's happening and kind of exists at the same time or within the plot. That was the most confusing description.
No, I get what you mean.
Movie ever.
Because I don't like horror, but particularly from the gore side of it. Like I'm just not interested in that kind of torture porn kind of vibe. But like a spook
sucks.
or like a thriller vibe, an anxious vibe, like I'm okay with that. But
more thriller than
okay.
horror. Like it, yeah. But yeah,
I'll keep it.
Yeah,
on
check
the
that movie
radar.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, you mentioned it earlier. Do you just want to throw in Banshees of Inisherin at all? Any more depth there?
So makers of In Bruges, creators of In Bruges, director Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson. It's like the premise is just so great. It's kind of I guess it's not really like giving too much away, but the premise of the movie is that there are two men living in this kind of town in Ireland in the 1920s, and one of them decides one day that he doesn't want to be friends with him anymore. So it's a very simple premise about two men and exploring their friendship.
Yeah.
And he's like, the movie starts with, you know, we're going to the pub together, and the other one says, no, I don't like you anymore. And so it's just this really dark, funny, poignant, beautiful movie about male friendship, and also, you know, wanting to do things before you die and leaving a legacy and all these things. So just a really beautiful movie. If you liked In Bruges, it's like right on that kind of hitting that tone. Really sharp kind of, and silly laughs as well. But yeah, definitely go see that. I think it comes out on Boxing Day.
Oh, good. That's a good one. I'll throw another watchable in the mix here. Aaron Chen, his stand-up special, If Weren't Filmed, Nobody Would Believe. Do you like Aaron Chen at all?
Yes, I like him. I do like Aaron Chen, yeah.
He did a couple of great, I think it was for like Adult Swim or Comedy Central a couple of years ago. Got someone to fund like a little Vox Pop on the Street series, which you can find on YouTube. I forget what it was called, but he styles himself as like the world's best interviewer, and goes walking around asking questions to people. And he's got, for some reason, his thing is at the end of a question, he'll get the answer, and then he'll take the microphone that he was holding in the person's face and just throw it in the bin and walk away. And he does it over and over again. And every single time it makes me laugh. So I was coming into this primed to like it, and he's recorded, I think it's about a 45-minute special. It's up on YouTube. You can check it out. Aaron Chen, if weren't filmed, nobody would believe, which is just good stand-up. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like his vibe. I like awkward, comedy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of these guys are putting their specials up on YouTube, which is interesting to see. I've been watching most of my comedy specials on YouTube.
Yeah, right.
Which leads me to my next recommendation, which is this comedy special that I did not watch on YouTube.
Okay, great.
It was on Netflix. It's Neil Brennan. I don't know if you know much about him.
I do.
But he's an interesting comic. He was like more of a writer first. Wrote on the Chappelle Show. Wrote Half Baked, which is like kind of like the thing that people remember him for with Chappelle. But really, he's got a new special called Blocked. He had a comedy special. His last one was 3 mics, where he had 3 mics on the stage and kind of did different personas or different takes of the same joke. So he's got a really he thinks about his comedy and he thinks about the presentation of his comedy, and it is really funny in parts, but it's also it's an interesting style. I'll say that it's not just sad or going for the Hannah Gatsby kind of tact, but it's like it's a bit gimmicky, I guess. But I would check that out. It's on Netflix.
I
Blocked
watched,
by Neil
I
Brennan.
think maybe the special before 3 mics. What was the one he did before that? I can't remember the name of it. But I sort of watched it and I sort of laughed at it, and then I got to the end of it and I was like, it was okay, but it didn't hit me. And I think maybe that was his first special, and if you, as you say, he sort of come to it from a writing perspective, maybe that's why it felt a little bit I don't know, stilted or whatever it was. But I know exactly what you mean in terms of his vibe is different. He does seem, as you say, to have really thought about what he's doing, and seems okay with it, not necessarily hitting a laugh line every minute.
Yeah, I'm not like his biggest fan. Like I'm kind of ambivalent about him, but it is also it's interesting to see people play around with the tried and
For sure.
tested form.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out.
One more watching thing since we're talking comedy. There's a show called Avenue 5, which was created by Armando Iannucci of Thick of It fame and Veep fame. Genuinely one of the cleverest, funniest writers on the planet, with years of impeccable track record and a certain voice which is just really recognizable, like a pace and a style. Like the Thick of It, In the Loop, Veep all have that flavor, even though Veep ended with a different showrunner, but also was still very strong. His show at the moment, which is on HBO, second season, called Avenue 5, stars Hugh Laurie as this spaceship captain. So it's like a space comedy. And I don't know if we talked about it when it came out. Do you have any memory of this at all, Michael?
Avenue 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about it.
Yeah. So first season, must have been 3+ years ago now. I think it was pre-COVID. And the pitch was that there's a spaceship and it's doing like a tourist loop around the sun, and it's like an 8-week cruise ship kind of vibe, luxury, everyone like a very rich passenger just going out to do a little bit of space sightseeing and coming back again. And then due to incidents and accidents, it gets knocked off course, and it'll now take 8 years to return home. So it becomes sort of like a bottle drama as all of these characters start flipping out. And there are more and more twists and like delicious character kind of things as it goes on. And Hugh Laurie is excellent, and just the perfect person you'd want saying this kind of language from Iannucci. And the second season has come back, and it's even better. It's like sharper, it's funnier, it's really sort of propelling forward narratively. I think nobody talks about it or is watching it, so I feel like this is going to be the only other season of it, but I have to just throw it out there that it is worth checking out, because it makes me laugh harder and faster than just about any other comedy on TV at the moment.
Yeah, I love him. Love Iannucci. I just listened to him on Marin's podcast. A couple of nights
that would be
ago.
interesting.
It was interesting. Yeah, he's a very quick guy, that's for sure. And In the Loop is just one of those classic
Great movie.
films. You know.
Great movie. Have you got anything else on your end?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I've got one more, and I'll just throw it out. I feel like you've got something to talk about with it because it's the new Bibio album, Bib 10. You've been giving that a bash?
Oh, you like it?
Yeah, I do like
I
it.
listened to it when it came out. Yeah, I do like it a lot. It's kind of a return to his old kind of form after this medieval kind of, his like Irish green sleeves album, the Leprechaun album. I call it.
Yeah, there was a couple of them. I you're being dismissive, but I do know what you mean. And there was a phase there as well prior. So there was 1 or 2 albums. I think the Phantom Brickworks stuff was all very sonic-y, kind of like electronic, ambient wank. And then he went sort of medieval fiddler on the, Scottish Highlands kind of
recorders
vibes.
and stuff.
Yeah, which I genuinely quite dig. Sleep on the Wing and all that kind of stuff.
Not bad, but like.
But you're right. This is sort of back to like
not Robin Hood,
and Mind Boca and Ambivalence Avenue, that sort of vibe, and it's really good. It's like full on jams. I'm digging it.
Yeah, very funky. Very interesting kind of synths and stuff. Still very DIY, which you love, like kind of bedroom producery kind of stuff, but professionally done, obviously. But yeah, he makes interesting music, and I love his voice.
Yeah, he's very distinct. You can always know when like it's a Bibio track.
Yeah, good rec. Bib 10.
Bib 10. All right, now Michael, tell me a joke, and we can end this thing in style.
All right. Tell you a joke. All right, 3 Jews work into a bar.
Okay, that's it. Goodbye.
And everyone just got along.
And they just ordered some drinks. Yeah, it was really nice. They hadn't seen each other in years.
They hadn't caught up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anti-jokes.
Anti-jokes.